Ever wonder why we chase perfection when it's an unattainable concept? In our modern world, societal pressures and expectations have painted a picture of an ideal life that most of us feel compelled to pursue. This ideal often presents itself as an image of perfection, a flawless state of being that, in reality, doesn't exist. Whether it's the perfect body, the perfect career, or the perfect relationship, we're constantly bombarded with images of this so-called perfection, pushing us to strive for something that's ultimately unattainable. So why do we chase this elusive ideal? The answer lies in our inherent desire to fit in, to be accepted, and to feel worthy. We're social creatures, and therefore, we tend to measure our worth based on societal norms and expectations. But here's the catch. These norms and expectations are constantly changing, making perfection a subjective and variable concept. One day, you might feel that you've achieved perfection only to wake up the next day and find that the goalposts have shifted. This could be due to a change in societal trends or a shift in your own personal values and aspirations. It's like trying to hit a moving target. No matter how hard you try, you'll never quite hit the bullseye. The pursuit of perfection, while seemingly noble, can have serious negative impacts on our mental and emotional well-being. It's a high-pressure game that often results in stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem. We become so focused on achieving this elusive ideal that we forget to appreciate our unique qualities and accomplishments. We start to believe that we're not good enough, not successful enough, not perfect enough. But here's the truth. We're not meant to be perfect. We're meant to be human, with all our quirks, flaws, and imperfections. And these imperfections are not signs of inadequacy, but rather they're what make us unique, authentic, and real. Perfection is a mirage that keeps shifting as we approach it, leaving us in a perpetual chase. So let's stop running after this mirage and start embracing our beautifully imperfect selves. Because in the end, it's not about being perfect, but about being perfectly you. What if we told you that imperfection is not a weakness, but a strength? Let's begin by understanding that imperfection is an inherent human trait. Each of us in our own way is imperfect. These imperfections, these idiosyncrasies, make us who we are. They add a dash of color, a sprinkle of uniqueness to our personalities, making us distinct from the 7.5 billion people inhabiting this planet. Embracing imperfection is not about settling for less. It's about acknowledging and accepting our faults, our shortcomings, and our peculiarities. It's about realizing that the pursuit of perfection can sometimes be a mirage, an unending journey that leaves us unfulfilled, always yearning for something that's just out of reach. Now you might wonder, why should we embrace our imperfections? How can they possibly be beneficial? Well, the answer lies in 3 key aspects: creativity, personal growth, and resilience. When we accept our imperfections, we foster creativity. We allow ourselves the freedom to experiment, to take risks, to think outside the box. Our mistakes, our failures, they become stepping stones, leading us to innovative ideas and unique solutions. Embracing imperfection also promotes personal growth. It encourages us to step out of our comfort zones, to challenge ourselves, to constantly learn and evolve. It teaches us to be kind to ourselves, to celebrate our successes, however small, and to learn from our failures, however big. And finally, embracing imperfection builds resilience. It helps us develop a positive mindset, to see the silver lining in every cloud. It equips us with the strength to bounce back from adversity, to face challenges head-on, and to keep moving forward, irrespective of the hurdles that come our way. So, let's celebrate our quirks, our eccentricities, our imperfections. Let's wear them as badges of honor, as symbols of our uniqueness. Let's remember that it's okay to be flawed, it's okay to be different, it's okay to be imperfect. Imperfection, hence, is not a flaw, but a testament to our individuality and authenticity. So how do we navigate from a pursuit of perfection to a journey of self-acceptance? Let's take a moment to ponder on that question. The journey to self-acceptance is a process that unfolds over time. It's not a quick fix or an overnight transformation. It requires patience, understanding, and a whole lot of self-love. The first step on this journey is self-awareness. It's about recognizing and acknowledging our strengths, but also our weaknesses and imperfections. It's about understanding that we're human, and humans, by nature, are imperfect. We make mistakes, we falter, we stumble, but it's these very imperfections that make us real, that make us unique. Once we've acknowledged our imperfections, the next step is self-compassion. Self-compassion is about treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, rather than harsh judgment and criticism. It's about acknowledging that everyone has flaws and that's okay. It's about giving ourselves the same kindness and compassion that we'd extend to a dear friend. But self-acceptance isn't just about acknowledging and accepting our flaws. It's also about self-improvement. It's about recognizing that while we're imperfect, we also have the capacity to grow and change. It's about striving to become the best version of ourselves, not a perfect version, but a version that's authentic and real. Remember, self-acceptance is not about complacency. It's not about settling for less than we deserve or can achieve. It's about understanding that we are enough, just as we are, and that our worth is not defined by our imperfections, but rather by our ability to embrace them. The journey to self-acceptance can be a challenging one, filled with ups and downs, but it's a journey worth taking, because at the end of the day, what matters most is not how others see us, but how we see ourselves. Self-acceptance is a journey, not a destination, and it begins with embracing our imperfections. And now that we understand the importance of imperfection, how can we practically embrace it? Let's dive right into it, beginning with one of the most effective tools at our disposal: mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness is simply being aware of our thoughts, feelings, and experiences in the present moment without judgment. When we notice a perfectionist thought creeping in, mindfulness allows us to acknowledge it without letting it control us. It's like saying, "Hey, I see you perfectionism, but I'm not going to let you run the show." Next up, let's challenge those perfectionist thoughts. This might sound a bit like an internal debate, and in a way, it is. When a perfectionist thought pops up, we can counter it with a realistic and positive argument. If your mind tells you, "You should have done better," respond with, "I did the best I could in that moment, and that's okay." Now, this doesn't mean we ignore areas for improvement. Instead, it's about recognizing our efforts and learning from our mistakes without berating ourselves. Constructive criticism is a healthy part of growth, but it should never involve belittling ourselves. Lastly, let's celebrate our small wins. In a world that often focuses on big achievements, it's easy to overlook the small victories that happen every day. Did you challenge a perfectionist thought today? That's a win. Did you stay mindful during a stressful situation? Another win. These victories may seem small, but they're steps in the right direction, and they deserve recognition. Incorporating these strategies into our daily lives won't magically erase perfectionist tendencies overnight. It's a process, sometimes a slow one, but remember that progress, not perfection, is the goal. Don't be too hard on yourself when old patterns creep back in. Instead, acknowledge the slip, learn from it, and keep moving forward. After all, the path to embracing imperfection isn't about being perfect, it's about being perfectly okay with being imperfect. Remember, every step towards embracing imperfection is a step towards self-acceptance. In conclusion, imperfection is not our enemy, but our ally. A surprising ally, indeed, but one that brings forth our true colors and shapes our authenticity. It's a force that propels us towards uniqueness and away from the monotony of perfection. Let's take a moment to revisit the key points we've discussed earlier. We started by questioning the concept of perfection, unmasking its deceptive allure. We delved into the understanding that perfection is an illusion, a mirage that keeps moving farther away the closer we try to get. Next, we explored the beauty of embracing imperfection, of celebrating the rough edges, the asymmetries, and the quirks that make us who we are. We talked about how these so-called flaws are, in fact, the strokes of color that paint our individuality on the canvas of life. We then embarked on the journey of self-acceptance, a journey where we learn to love ourselves, not despite our imperfections, but because of them. We discovered that self-acceptance is not a destination, but a continuous journey, a personal voyage that is as unique as we are. We also shared practical tips and strategies for embracing imperfection. We learned to replace self-criticism with self-compassion, to wear our scars with pride, and to see our mistakes as opportunities for growth. And now here we are at the heart of our discussion. Imperfection is your superpower. It's the secret sauce that adds flavor to your life, the magic ingredient that makes you, you. It's the fingerprint that sets you apart in a world striving for uniformity. It's the courage to be vulnerable, the strength to be authentically you. So let's start seeing our imperfections not as shortcomings, but as badges of honor. Let's wear them with pride, for they are the testament of our journey, the evidence of our resilience, and the symbol of our authenticity. Remember, we don't need to be perfect to be amazing. Our imperfections are what make us uniquely beautiful and genuinely human. So let's celebrate them. Embrace your imperfections because they make you, you.